Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Travel in Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history, with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. Today I am in the historic Newcastle, Delaware. This is a really cool place right here, Newcastle, Delaware. Beautiful historic town here. All right, and right here you're looking at the historic courthouse. All right, and this is funny. This is like the kind of like the center spot of this whole Newcastle area. In the original, way back, it had like a 12-mile circle right around this courthouse, right? And it was the only, I believe, in the United States, the only northern boundary that was an arch. That's right. This was an arch. It's the only one in the United States. That was the northern boundary of this, right around this building, showing you how important the Newcastle Historic Courthouse is. Now, if you look around, right, this is one of the best preserved colonial towns in America. I hear Newcastle, Delaware. It's freaking wild. It's on the Delaware River, and it's between New York and the Chesapeake Bay. So back in the old days, I mean, that was huge. Trade was huge. The whole strategy, military strategy, right? This was huge, and this place really developed very nicely, and it's going to be a lot of history here in this little place outside of like the bigger cities that are in effect at this time. All right. Now, this Newcastle courthouse, all right, it got built in 1732. It's really old, right? 1732. However, it sits on the site of another courthouse that was here since the 1680s. So you can imagine just how old and how important this is, right? Again, as I told you, this is like the center of the arch. The center of the arch of Newcastle, right? That 12-mile little circle. It's the center of that. This is where Delaware's first capital was before they moved it more inland because they thought it would be safer, right? But this is where Delaware's first capital was. This is where they did all the legislation. Was like right here. It wasn't just about punishing people. It was about legislation, right? Making laws and creating a government, right? So basically, every single, nearly all of the colonial Delaware legal decisions were made right here in this building, the courthouse. Made right here in this building, the courthouse. This building, it's a beautiful building. Beautiful building. You can see it's really old, right? Pretty much all the major decisions were made right here. Now, going back, there was a guy named William Penn. Some of you may know who he is. Pretty big Pennsylvania guy, William Penn, right? He's kind of pretty much overseeing this area, ruling this area. Right? He kind of governs this area, right? But in 1776, Newcastle is going to break away from Pennsylvania to become their own place. They're going to break away from Pennsylvania and England. I mean, you know what's happening in 1776, right? Right, the Declaration of Independence, declaring our independence. And when the Declaration of Independence comes around, Delaware is going to jump all over that, right? This right here, this Newcastle, and Delaware is going to jump all over that. Then they're going to be the first. They're going to be the first to jump right in there and have their own little constitution again. They're breaking free from England. They're breaking free from Pennsylvania. They're making their own decisions. Right? And then what's going to happen is eventually, 1787, there's going to be the Constitution. Well, guess which state is the first to ratify the Constitution? Yes, right here in this courthouse, right in Newcastle, Delaware. It's the first to ratify the Constitution. And they said that gives them the first state nation, right? So they're the first to ratify the Constitution. Immediately after the 1776 Declaration, they're the first one to go run out, right, break free and create their own little state constitution. And they say that this gives them a lot of the first nation status, that they are the first state in the United States is what they claim. All right. Now, let me talk to you about when we're talking about their constitution, how it's important. They created their own constitution. They ratified immediately after the Declaration of Independence. They were the first to ratify the federal constitution. So let me talk to you a little bit about federalism. All right, here's the deal. You got the United States Constitution, right? But this place right here, they've actually got two constitutions. They've got the United States Constitution, and they got their own constitution, their state constitution. And every single state out there has that. So there's actually not one constitution here in the United States. There's actually 50 states and then the one federal. So there's 51 constitutions, right? There's 51 like Supreme Courts. And that's all about federalism. And this place right here is playing a big deal into federalism. You got 51 Supreme Courts, you got 51 constitutions. So if one isn't working out for you, hopefully you could do another one, right? And hopefully you would do things your way, like they did here in Newcastle. They did things their way when they broke free of Pennsylvania and broke free of England. So now, here's where it gets a little tricky, though, for this First Nation status. You got this place, Connecticut. That's where I'm from, right? They come across with the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut in 1639. That's way, way before the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, right? And this is basically what many people consider to be the first written Constitution. Again, it's called the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. It's considered to be the first written constitution. So Connecticut calls himself the Constitution State and pretty much says, like, they're the first state, right, of the Union. And it's not Delaware here in this courthouse in Newcastle. So I guess that kind of goes back and forth. I mean, who gets first state status, right? Who gets the first state status? Is it the first to ratify the Constitution, which is what Delaware did right here? Or is it the first written Constitution, which Connecticut had way, way back? So you get the first state status. Who's getting that first state status? Who would you say? Would you say right here, Delaware? Of course, the people in Delaware and Newcastle would say it's them. And there's obviously a very good argument for that, right? Or Connecticut's got a little bit of an argument there too. So who knows who's right? But today we're in Newcastle, Delaware. We're at this historic courthouse, and they're the ones that pretty much go down in history as the first state status here in the nation. All right. So another thing you need to learn, or you should be aware of, I should say, is that right here in this tiny place, beautiful historic tiny place, that history happened here. A lot of history happened here. It didn't happen just in Philly or just in Boston, right? I mean, Washington, D.C. is coming, but history happened here as well. Okay, in this courthouse, it wasn't just about making laws to punish people. They actually created government here. They created laws that make people's lives better, give them more of a voice and independence. All right, so that's a really important thing you need to know about this courthouse is it wasn't just about punishment. Right? It was also about making people's lives better. Now, when I go and do my traveling time with Dan show, or I mix travel with history, with leadership, of course, this place, Newcastle, Delaware, is very cool. You should definitely travel down here and check it out. You're seeing just a little teeny bit of it, but it's got a lot more really cool stuff you should definitely see. So it's definitely worth traveling down here. Now the history, I've already given you a little bit about the history of the first state status in the nation and all that, and this courthouse. So many important things, almost everything important here in the early days happened right here at this courthouse. So what is like the leadership lesson that goes with this? Well, I would say the leadership is this. Leadership is not about just being first in line. It's about being willing to take the first step when others hesitate. Remember, Delaware, right here in this courthouse in Newcastle, Delaware, was the first to ratify the Constitution, giving them that first state status, right, in the nation. Delaware was the first state to create their own constitution after the Declaration of Independence, right? So, yeah, I mean, many people were hesitant. They're like, what's going to go on here? I mean, England, we're going to really, really take on England? I mean, heck, these guys took on England and Pennsylvania. Imagine that, right? Breaking free from that. But when others hesitated, Delaware jumped all over it, and that definitely does give Delaware, especially here in Newcastle, this courthouse, gives them a really good argument for the first state nations and the nation's status. No doubt about it. Well, everybody, thank you for spending time with me today. on the Travel in Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history and with leadership, and of course me, Dan Blanchard. We'll be back real soon with another great episode. Till then, you take care.